this beautiful season of love, let's all dwell into the fantasy of happiness in creating love, finding love, making love, and love, love, love everywhere. And now we are going to go straight into the story of love stories that touched my heart, edited by Ravinder Singh. And the story is The Uncertainty of Love by Arpita Ghosh. Life and love doesn't seem to be the way you want. Can it be any better if it doesn't happen in the way you want? Could it really be fruitful and make you happy if it doesn't happen the way you think it should happen? Let's find the answer. Let's find it through the story by Arpita Ghosh in her story, The Uncertainties of Life. Let's jump into the story. I was all dressed up for the party and stood in front of a mirror admiring myself, putting on the white XXL shirt. A clean-shaven, eligible bachelor like me looked no less than a Cinderella's Prince Charming. It was the last day of college reunion. I was very excited to meet my old friends Vikramjit, Pratik, Atharva, Emily, Maitreyi. Everyone was to come to attend the party, as all had confirmed on the phone. It was 7 o'clock. My coffee has almost gone cold. Recollecting the memories from the past with my photo album, almost 14 years has passed. How quickly the time has progressed. But it seems it all happened just yesterday. I had reached the party as I met some old classmates of mine. I introduced myself as a teacher of literature in my own school. Pratik had become a banking agent. Vikramjit continued his family business of fertilizer. Emily was a librarian, whereas Maitreyi remained a housewife and a mother of two. The information that shocked me most was Atharva was employed in a private firm, because during the college times, he used to tell that he would be taking the civil service examinations after completing his graduation. He has always wanted to be a bureaucrat. However, his scornful smile created some doubts in my mind. Despite being curious, I refrained from asking or imagining perhaps my curiosity might embarrass him. It was obvious that something had gone wrong with him. "Hey Samrat, what's up?" The voice of the woman thrilled as well as elated me. It was Emily Stewart, my best friend at the college. "Leading a normal life as usual," she added. "I have been a librarian for past 2 years. Emily and I have been friends since we were child, and as we used to live in the same neighborhood. After my father's promotion, we shifted to a new flat, leaving the rented house, but I remained in touch with her as we were studying the same college at school. And in college, we were joined by our new friends, although we had separated from one another almost 8 years ago. After graduation, we had remained in touch through phone calls, emails, this and that. During the school days, sometimes I used to wonder that how a jolly, impulsive, and outgoing girl like Emily could be friends with a boy like me, who was very emotional, quiet, shy of course. During college, when Atharva, Pratik, Vikramjit and others made fun of me and addressed me as sarcastically as Sam or Sammy instead of my original name, that is Samrat, and I looked a bit emotional, Emily stood in my defense. That's how a true friend works, right? When we completed our graduation and to be separated, all of us were sad because we would seldom meet, but we promised to keep in regular touch with other, and so we did. Before this reunion, I had an opportunity to meet them on occasion of Maitreyi's wedding ceremony, but I couldn't attend the occasion because of my examination. However, after leaving college, something made me feel that perhaps I had a soft corner for my childhood friend. In fact, I thought of proposing to her more than once, but I never dared to proceed with my feelings. I was gripped with panic every time I thought about it. What if she were to reject me? What would I do then? I didn't want to lose her as my best friend actually. At that time, I thought it was better to suppress my feelings than to bring them out in open. We also actually belonged to a different religions. There was a fear in my mind that our families might not agree to blessing our union. This reason was sufficient to prevent me going forward. Years passed. On the occasion of college reunion, Emily was dressed in black kurti and pink skirt. She was jovial as she used to be in college or school days. She continued babbling about herself and her family. Others were also looking very attractive. "My dear Emmeline," said Vikramjit, "I think you should talk about your parents' recent most desirable task, of which I am already aware, because you promised me that you will reveal your secrets to all of us today." "Of course, I was about to tell to everyone about it," said Emily. "But you didn't." "Okay, I'm telling now," she said, smiling. "After my speech, Vikram told me a moral. I refused to understand," Vikram said, showing a mocking annoyance. "Then I'm gonna murder you, man." "Then you'd be in jail?" We laughed at their banter. Vikramjit was still being a prankster as years back. Then Pratik intervened. "Stop quarreling, guys. Will you please come to the point?" After a few moments of pause, Emily spoke out. "Finally, my parents have stopped searching for an eligible bachelor for their daughter." "You must have threatened them," said Maitreyi. "No, dear," she said. "Actually," she paused, and then taking Adarva's arm, she said, "We have decided to get married." "What?" Maitreyi and Pratik asked, surprised. "Yes, dears," said Vikramjit. "I have known this for past 2 years. They were secretly messaging, mailing and dating. Adarva had shared this with me earlier as soon as he proposed to her." "Adarva, tell them about it," he said, looking at Adarva. "It's true," said Adarva. "Emily and I are going to get married next month, and all of you definitely should come. And don't worry, I'll personally invite you all," said Adarva excitingly. "This is really exciting," said Pratik. Maitreyi also expressed her delight and congratulated the couple. "Congratulations to both of you," I said. She was holding Adarva's arm. On returning home that night, I went to my room with a sense of loss. I thought of Robert Browning's lover from the last ride together and realized that I should allow my beloved to choose her own path of happiness. If she wished to be happy with someone else, I should not put obstacles in her path by telling her about my love for her. If I do love someone, it is not necessary that she has to be in love with me. Sometimes little injustices happen in life, but we have to go through sufferings, pains with courage. I decided to overcome my frustration and attend my best friend's wedding. A month later, on their wedding day, I went to attend their function. As my family and that of Emily used to live in the neighboring area, my parents were also invited by her father. To my surprise, I could see no one from Adarva's family as long as they. I assumed they would come later, but what could have held them back? Our group of friends are also come together to attend their wedding and wish the newly happily married couple a happy, married, prosperous life. Another day, Adarva arranged a get-together as a treat for his friends instead of a formal reception. Almost 1.5 years has passed since our college reunion. One day while coming back from post office, I met Vikramjit. During this time, I had not visited either of my friends. Even phone calls, emails, messaging were infrequent among us. He recognized and called out to me from his car, and I waved and went to meet him. I told him I was so happy to meet him after such a long time. I asked him about his life, his family, about others in our group. Then I could not help but ask him about Adarva and Emily. A shadow of pain and sadness passed his face. Instead of answering my questions, he asked, Sam, don't you know anything? About what? I asked. About Emily and Adarva? Actually, I heard about Emily's pregnancy from Pratik a few months after their marriage. Once I called them up too, but no one answered the phone, so I didn't call again, thinking that something might have happened. They didn't answer Maitrey's calls too, so I just. Anyway, what happened? Vikramjit spoke with a lot of pain in his voice. Well, last year Emily had a boy. He looks a lot like his father, but his voice turned gloomy. Adarva and Emily are no more. He passed. They died in a car accident a fortnight back. Oh dear God, my head reeled with news. I put my hand on the car's bonnet for support. All I could see was the happy face of the couple in front of my eyes. Are you okay? Maybe I shouldn't have. No, it's okay. I needed to know this, I said. Then it suddenly struck to me. What about the boy? The boy survived miraculously, he said. Both of Emily's parents had died last year. Her father had a massive cardiac arrest. Her mother couldn't take his death and completely broke down. She passed away within 6 months of her husband's death. As for Adarva's parents, they denied any responsibility of the child because they said Adarva had married against their wishes to a non-Hindu girl. Is that even a reason? What sort of a cruel people are they? They have said no to their only grandchild. The kid is, after all, their dead son's only representation. So horrible, Vikramjit said, shaking his head. Then he spoke again. Do you know, they did not even take his body from the morgue. It's all because of religion. And that was why he chose to work at a private firm. Adarva's family had refused to provide any sort of financial help for his studies of public administration, only because of his being in love with Emily. He had been abandoned by his family and forever. After leaving the college, I have always remained in close contact with Adarva, and that's how I knew about his family disputes and stuff like this. This came as a shocking news to me. I could not imagine that they had gone through so much in order to stay together. But my heart was going out to the child. What about Emily's cousins, uncles or aunts? Are they not taking care of the child? They were informed, but I don't think they would care for the infant, as the neighbor told me. As a result, the child had been sent to the nearest orphanage. Emily and Adarva named the boy Devraj before they died. Once I had seen that little boy's photo, which had been sent to me by Pratik in his emails. It was pretty obvious that he had got them from Vikramjit, as Pratik too hadn't been in touch with this couple. So there was no direct contact of the couple besides Vikramjit. I was thinking about paying a visit to the boy after taking the address of the orphanage from local police station at Vikramjit, said Vikramjit. I want to go, but I couldn't. Because I'm just scared. You know, I have a family to look after. I couldn't make up my mind for that. I nodded my head in understanding. After talking some more, Vikramjit went away. I remained in there thinking of the shattered blow life had given the infant, who laughed at both his parents just in the beginning of life. Why had that happened? Why does life become so ruthless and merciless to most people? If his decision of telling love had happened, could her life be more better? Could that have been reversed? What was written on her head? Maybe the life would have been more better or even more worse than this. Who knows? Let's jump far away and dive into the chapters. Suddenly, a loud gust of wind coming from the window hurled me back to the reality. I finished the last sip of my coffee. It was entirely cold, almost turned tasteless. I closed the album that contained the last meeting of our entire group at college reunion ceremony. How quickly 13 summers have passed. My father died a couple years ago. I did not think of marriage throughout these years. I heard footsteps running down and an elated voice cried out, "Dad, it's raining outside! Let's get drenched! Come on! Come on!" "Dave, if it rains outside, you should shut the doors and windows instead of running out." "Which I already did for your information," he said sarcastically. "Now let's have some fun in the rain. Come on, Dad." "No." "Dad, please, Dad. Even Grandma's not letting me go outside." "Dave, if Grandma asks you not to, then you shouldn't go. Okay? Why?" "Because you'll catch cold. Besides, your midterm examinations are coming. What will happen if you fall sick?" "You know what? In our school, our teacher has told us that he used to have a lot of fun in rain while he was in school. If he could do it, then why can't I?" "Because I told you to do so. I don't want you to know what your teacher did in his school days. I have never stopped you from watching TV or playing games, but not this. I'm worried about your health." "Honestly, Dad, you're being really mean. I don't care." "But Dad, can't you let me go just for once?" "No," I got angry. "Haven't I told you to be inside when it rains?" His face turned gloomy as I scolded him. Said often to soften my voice, "Dave, I want you to listen to me. Don't you get that?" "Yes, Dad," he said calmly. "Then no more arguments, no more questions. Go upstairs. You are a good boy, aren't you? I know you are." "Yes, I am." "Then go upstairs. Good boy, always obey their fathers." "Fine, I'll go." And he went off. The excitement on his face had disappeared. I didn't mean to hurt his feelings or to spoil his fun, but sometimes strictness is necessary for raising a kid properly. Now I realize that life isn't so unfair for those people who have gone through darkest phases of life. I got to the most precious and dearest reminder of my best friend, Emily, by adopting her only child. Now I'm his father. I am happy with the partial fulfillment of my desire. When I go out for my work, my mother takes care of my child. Although the boy takes after his father, but in his deepest nature, he is as jolly, spirited, impulsive as his mother once was. Fulfillment of a desire on earth is bliss. But what doesn't happen according to one's wishes is even better, because then it is the wishes of Almighty Himself. Whenever one gets upset with something, it should be kept in mind that He has already planned something else for that person. So I do hope, guys, even the things don't happen in your way, even your love doesn't happen in the way you think, Almighty has written something on your head. Believe it. Life is changing.